I never thought I'd see the day where I actually reached tier 1 on an LMG. In previous battlefields, I'd never really touched the LMGs, but when using the LCMG in Battlefield 2042, it didn't feel like the LMGs you used to see in the likes of Battlefield 4, 1 and 5. I think that might be due to a lot of different factors. And I suppose I was fortunate that I did the majority of the kills on the way to tier 1 pre-patch 3.1, which definitely saw a significant buff to the LCMG. So I'm going to split this discussion down into two separate areas, one pre-update 3.1 and post-update 3.1. But first let's jump into the attachments that I've typically been running on the LCMG, just to give you a bit of an idea of what I've enjoyed using. So to kick off with the ammunition, we were typically running the close combat rounds just to give me additional recoil control, reload speed and rate of fire, and the effective range loss wasn't too much of a big deal to me. On occasion however, we just run the standard issue. I didn't feel like any of the other ammunitions would really play that much of a benefit for me whilst I was using the LCMG. In terms of grips, it was always going to be the BCG light grip. I needed to have the accuracy while moving and I hated being stationary while using the LCMG. As an alternative, in the earlier levels, the LS1 laser sight was also pretty beneficial if I was playing up close and personal with that increased hipfire accuracy. For sights, it's always going to be the Fusion Holo for me. The LCMG really benefited from the Fusion Holo just because the zoom level wasn't too increased, and it also gave me a lot of peripheral vision. Alternatively though, the XDR Holo was something that I always go back to time and time again regardless of the weapon I'm using. Now, that shortened barrel was a mainstay for me as soon as I unlocked it, just for that rate of fire increase. The ability to put out more rounds quickly was much better for me when I was getting closer into more medium and short range conflicts with the LCMG. Now, as I said, update 3.1 definitely changed up how the LCMG functions and feels, just generally when you're using it. Pre-update 3.1, the gun was definitely much more difficult to get to grips with. I definitely had to get more attachments on it before I felt comfortable using it at medium to longish range, and still maintaining general accuracy. However, once I'd nailed down the attachments that I was typically running, and I think I got it to a point where it didn't feel as clunky in the close range engagements either, so sometimes if I come up against a submachine gun it generally would be a 50-50, and then was more reliant on actual skill of the players in the game. In contrast to this though, after update 3.1, oh boy did the LCMG become a laser. As I'm sure you're all aware now, update 3.1 significantly reduced first shot recoil on both the LMGs, so the LCMG and the PKP, and just generally making the guns a lot easier to use. With that in mind, going from it pre-update 3.1 and then straight into using it post-update, there was a marked difference in how the gun performed. You can even check some of my streams during that period when I dropped an 85 kill game just using the LCMG, which for my skill level is pretty impressive. So overall, just going off the back of that, once you've got things like the BCG light grip and the close combat rounds equipped, you can basically fire laser beams at people across the map. So without question, it's a #1 pick for me at the moment across any of the different specialists, but especially for those who are playing in a support role, maybe as a medic or someone who's just generally supplying the team, because not only are you allowed to do that, but you've also got an essentially never-ending magazine of around 200 rounds. Of course, let me know down in the comments below if you've sampled the LCMG and what you think of it now, post-update 3.1. As always, it's been an absolute pleasure, thanks again for your time, and I'll catch you all in the next one.